Okay, we should be live on YouTube and live on Instagram. All right, here we go. Holy cow. Yep, everything's looking good. How's my chat looking here? Should be all right, I believe. Yep. There we go. Put a little chat in there for us. There it is. Okay. Welcome to the live, guys. We're getting warmed up. We just got started. So those of you that are coming on, welcome. I just literally turned it on. Hello, Dr. Silby. Good evening, sir. Or ma'am? Ma'am, I believe. I can't tell. I'm sorry. The picture is too small for me to tell. But welcome to the stream. And as I said, we just got started and kicking it off. We have a good one tonight. It's going to be a fun debate, fun discussion. Chat's going to be lit. So it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to this one. So let's make a few little minor adjustments just because our OCD is kicking in. There we go. And that's all set up. Nice. All right, a couple more adjustments here and there. Boom. All right, we're looking good. Instagram, this just happened, I think. Haven't looked into it to see if it's actually real, but this just happened. Iraq passes a law lowering the legal age of marriage for girls from 18 to 19. So there we are. What's up, Random? Hell yeah, bro. Thanks for joining. Good to have you, man. And everything's looking good. I just verified on the stream. I'm going to give myself a little color or lighten myself up a little bit. There we go. Just to brighten things up. And we're waiting for everyone else to join on YouTube. And we got a good one today. And it's going to be trans women versus conservative women. And before I get it started, I'm going to go through a little bit of YouTube. And as things ramp up, we'll go back and get this thing started. So, what is this one here?
Both.
Have you guys seen this?
Easy, do you like bofa?
Bofa.
Yeah, both of these nuts on your chin.
Man. Oh, you got me.
I couldn't help. Easy, do you like bofa?
Just have to do a little bit of that little AI for you. There's one with Tupac. Where's he at? What's up, State Line? Thanks for joining, man. Doesn't look like Mr. That doesn't really look like Mr. Rogers. No? Yeah, AI can do better, bro. AI can do better. I agree.
Easy, do you like bofa?
Bofa.
Yeah, both of these nuts on your chin.
It does look like him, doesn't it? A little bit. All right. Let's. All right, dude. Let's see. Have you seen this? Well, we gotta get the music off, dude. Gotta get that music off. Look at this, dude. Look at this. Ooh. No geology here, bro. Sorry. No, these are real, bro. This is the real deal. A little bit of watch porn, bro. This is PJ. This is a beautiful piece. It's a little overpriced, in my opinion. I was looking at it, and they... no joke. I was supposed to be the first person in the country to get this watch. No lie. And I passed on it because I think it's a little overpriced. So, but cool watch. Very cool piece. Very, very cool piece. And it's an homage to their old pieces from the 1970s. It's a very cool piece. Yeah, bro. That's why I really exactly stay on. That's why I love that watch. It's a beautiful watch. But I got a good one for us, guys. I got a fun one, dude. So we're gonna, dude, we're gonna love this. As usual, I'm watching it with you guys. So here we go. Ready? Here, 1, 2, 3.
Womanhood is defined by biology.
So my take on the whole womanhood is defined by biology is I just kind of feel like the debate is very redundant. I mean, you can say like, oh, trans women aren't biological women, but then also still say you should still treat them as women and we should still be treated as, you know, just a normal woman. I mean, like I said, the whole point of going back and forth of this terminology, it's just, there's no real point. And the people who disagree, it's very unlikely they're ever gonna change. And the people who already agree on it, it's very unlikely that they're ever gonna change. So people should just kind of like, I just feel like the argument's sort of pointless at this point.
I kind of feel the same way. Like I just have a very different viewpoint.
First of all, can you guys tell which ones are the trans women and which one are the conservative women?
On what womanhood encapsulates, like in terms of like everything. I think it's very, I just don't think it's right to like make snap judgments like that about a situation that maybe you don't know like what my experience in womanhood is. Like, just like maybe I don't know what yours is. I just feel that snap of like making womanhood depend on biology just feels wrong to me.
I believe it's 100% biology. I believe from the second I was born as a woman to when I die as a woman, that entire journey, as difficult and beautiful as it is mine. So it's always going to be different. But I believe every step of the way is affected by the fact that I was born a woman, I'm a woman, and I think it's very beautiful and sacred. And I would just never want that to be something that someone could just claim, I guess. So yeah, I think my whole journey will be because I'm a woman.
Well, what if I told you that's my experience? From the moment I could even form thoughts, I was a girl, like always has been, always will be. I was verbalizing that I was a woman or girl from the moment I could speak. So honestly, I relate, like, cause I feel the same way. While your experience might look a little bit different than mine, I feel the same. I was always a girl, was always a woman, am a woman now, and I think that things are harder to define rather than just looking in that like black and white box of, ooh, it's biology, oh, it's not biology, because I think that really confuses what my experience is and also what you said, kind of like how different yours is, you know?
I'd have to disagree with that. I have lived a woman experience, but you never truly have had a lived experience as a woman. You have to think about biology, chromosomes, hormones. You can't discount biology and reality. If you feel like you've had a lived woman experience, that's not rooted in reality.
Dang, bro, she straight gave it to her. Dang, random has a point. Never had an actual period. Never had a lot of things, right? She says she felt like a woman, and she felt like she experienced womanhood, but not even. It was absolutely false.
You actually don't.
That's your opinion.
That's exactly what I believe.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
No to reality. I don't think to her opinion, to reality.
And I absolutely disagree and completely believe the opposite. So like, I can already see where this is going, like bringing in like spirituality. I've kind of just gotten the vibe a little bit, and like I'm not on that same playing field.
But how could you truly know what it is to have a lived experience as a woman if you weren't born as a woman?
Yeah, how could you know what my experience is as a woman if you've never been in my shoes?
But you don't.
But I've
also
been
know,
a woman my whole life.
But respectfully, you also don't know what it's like to be a trans woman. And I think that we get too comfortable reducing trans women down just to their genitalia. Because let's be clear, when we talk about the experience of being a trans woman, it does not start with biology. It starts with gender identity, gender expression, and how we socially show up. My womanhood is not a threat to your womanhood. And I actually agree with you. I have a similar way of thinking of like, I was born this way. I will die this way. My experience is very sacred, and that's why I'm in alignment with all of you here to be able to share that. I just think that certain groups, certain people love to use the conversation around biology, but we don't want to talk about the nuances of biology. There are some women, some cis women, who look more masculine than trans women.
What nuances in biology?
And does that take away from their womanhood? So I really think that we really have to open up and expand and broaden.
Biology is very specific. As Random was saying, I don't think you've ever had your actual period. That's biology.
On what it is to be a woman.
Or like intersex people. Like,
by the way, I respect your opinions, but I 100% do agree with her. Most likely we do. I feel like that's almost like me being like, oh no, your experience is like a paraplegic. Like I'm totally there and feel for you. It's like, how could I even say that? That's, to me, I feel offended being like, yeah, no, I've totally been there. Like,
She makes a good point. It's like someone saying that, I totally understand what it's like being, I lived the experience of a paraplegic if you never were, and that's just how you felt. That makes sense.
We agree to disagree because you haven't. And
I would argue that maybe our experiences are more similar than you would think. Like really, how I've been exposed to certain things, and even as somebody who had not come out as a trans woman yet, I was going through experiences that women go through. And that may not resonate with you, but it's not really your place to tell me what I experienced and what I didn't.
Yeah, I was born a woman. Everything about me is a woman. All the hardships I go through every second of every day, being a woman, going through, I don't want to talk about too much personal stuff just because I am a public figure and most of it's extremely traumatic, that I think probably every woman goes through. But just from being a little girl, going through puberty, being around men, I've been in LA, was going out at a young age, through dealing with health issues, periods that send me to hospitals up until this day, hormone issues, constantly dealing with also being a public figure and my image and all these things. It's just so difficult. Sometimes I'm like, the fact that we work is so crazy to me because what I emotionally go through 24/7. I've dealt with cervical cancer, which has been the most traumatic thing I've ever gone through, multiple times, multiple surgeries. Women's healthcare is genuinely medieval. It makes me sick. I am very pro-woman. I hope that comes across. And I'm just like, my entire journey, my hormones, what I was born at, my biology makes me who I am and takes me on this journey. And I just always want that to be something respected because I really feel for women. What we go through is just, thank God I am in this country. If I was somewhere else. There's always room for nuance. I do agree. I totally understand a different perspective. I can respect it. I just might not agree with that, but I don't want that to be like, oh, I'm shutting you down as no and I'm right. Because
I love what she said right there in the beginning. She goes, it's like, because the trans woman is saying, I experienced womanhood ever since I was born. I could start thinking. I felt like a woman, so I experienced it. And she's like, well, how could you? You were not actually a woman. It's like me saying I experienced being paraplegic. Like, how could I actually say that I wholeheartedly experienced being paraplegic? It's true.
Because I don't want it to be that. Yeah, I just want it to be like, this is just my journey. And the older I get as a woman, I'm 31, I want to get married, I want to have kids, and I see what women go through with having children. I just think we are like the most like magical creatures, and I just want that magic to remain, if that makes sense. I just think it's really special.
I would say where I feel like a lot of overlap does come in between lived experiences is between, societal, like living how society views you. No one is sitting here thinking she is a man in any capacity, So when she's walking out, everyone's thinking.
And so are you, by the way. I don't look at you guys.
No,
like,
don't
dude,
worry.
it's like, no.
Come on, guys.
And,
like genuinely, that's what's like, what's up, ladies?
But when we go out and like, let's say, no one knows, we have our names changed and everything. We go on a job application, we're going to be applying basically as a woman. So we're going to be treated as a woman, and we walk out of the house, we're going to be treated and seen as a woman. So I think in societal standards, there is definitely some overlap. But I will say, I also agree to the point of there are experiences, none of us could ever understand when it comes to womanhood. And when it comes, Yeah, and but I feel like that's
Thank
also
you.
where
I
it comes
think that's actually
into
really
the,
respectful.
Yeah, that comes to the uniqueness of like trans womanhood. Growing up trans, living trans. Just in the same way, I'll never know what it's like to grow up and have my first period or anything like that. None of you would ever know what it's like to grow up and know you're one way, but physically see it in another way, and then to live that.
And I guess I kind of want to direct my question back to you, since this is kind of where this started. Is there any nuance for you? Because to me, entering in a conversation like with you, it's easier for me because you are allowing nuance. And it sounds to me as if you're not allowing that.
Why is that?
Your immediate response, I think it was really clear where you're at in comparison to Emily's. I think am I off by that?
I think you're off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you that I don't understand your lived experience, because I've never lived an experience as a man. Or
I'm not living an experience as a man, friend.
person.
And I just want to be clear to everybody in this room.
Bro, she's coming out firing.
I was invited here as a woman. So if we're gonna engage in a conversation with each other, I would appreciate the respect of being talked to as a woman for this conversation. You don't have to agree, but I'm not gonna be in here and being talked to that way, because we were invited here all.
Dang, we just got started. She's already losing it. Damn, bro. Hella triggered, dude. Look at
As
this.
women, be
you
clear.
were actually invited here as a trans
Yes,
woman.
trans woman.
And when
That's
you
called a
have to
distinguisher, friend.
When you put trans or another word in front of woman, it's not actually a real
Tall
woman.
It
woman?
describes the woman.
Short woman?
It's an adjective.
Oh.
What the? That's amazing. That's amazing. Are you out of your cotton picking mind?
Oh my God, bro.
You don't
It's an
have to do
adjective.
that for
Trans
a
woman
woman.
is a type of woman, and that goes under the whole umbrella of what womanhood is. But going back to the regular question, the whole question around biology, like I said, you want to open up the conversation for nuances. So what do we say to women who have naturally higher testosterone levels, who look more natural, who look more masculine, because of something that we call genetics? Because genetics is something that you cannot control. So do we take away a woman's womanhood because she's more masculine, because she's a tomboy? Or is she still a woman? Because that could become a whole social construct around that. See, I think what Stassi is saying is you have to allow
Yeah, bro, put it on Discord. We'll check it out.
nuance to be able to flow in, to be able to understand that. Just y'all being a conservative woman, I like to know what your definition of conservative is, because is it more just political, or is it because you carry yourself a certain way? Do you dress a certain way? So I can understand a little bit more.
I would love to jump in on the topic of what is a conservative woman. For me, it is number one, my faith. My faith as a Christian informs every aspect of my life, and so that's going to be mainly where I'm leading through. Second is family. I think family is a really important thing to me and many conservatives. So when we talk about laws and society, many conservatives are concerned about what is going to affect the family unit. Third is tradition. Conservatives lean towards a more traditional vibe, if you will. So we're not so much about tearing apart the entire social constructs and ripping it all apart and starting new, because we value what generations before us have done, and we find wisdom in that. And so it's like you're looking in a road and you see a big rock there, and some people may think okay, tear the rock out, build a fence, do all these things. But when you lean conservative, it's more okay, why is the rock there? Let's do a little bit more research behind that. Let's find out what the generations before us did about it. That's kind of where I lean. And so that's kind of what informs my conservative Christian attitude.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
W. Joanne Spruitt.
Yeah.
Welcome to the chat.
And can I just mention one thing? Because you're conservative more leaning,
I wouldn't
right?
call myself conservative, but I would see myself as more kind of right-leaning on some issues. The reason for that is just simply because of, not even necessarily because of LGBT issues, because I think it's pretty obvious my stance on that, but more so when it comes.
Oh, dude, we got the missus coming. Miss Medication is here. Here we go.
Comes to just things like gun rights, and I'm also pretty traditionalist, surprisingly. But when I have my husband, I want to just have my husband, have my kids, just have my family. And I believe as a trans woman, it's my right to do that. To be the motherly figure, go adopt my child, and raise my family how I want to raise them, and do all that. So yeah, I guess I'm, like I said, when it comes to the whole right versus left thing, I'm kind of in the middle, but slightly right leaning on.
And I think you bring in a little bit more nuance, and that's what I can kind of respect, even though I may not agree with everything that you're saying, or even everything that you're saying, you're allowing nuance.
Oh my God, we just started the video and they already said nuance like I think 26 times.
Where I feel this prompt does not allow
If we had a drink every time they said nuance, we'd be smashed right now.
nuance at all, because I just feel it's so black and white
She
sometimes
just said
in the
it
way that things
again.
are said, specifically the way that you directed your comments. I just feel it's so like close-minded, and like I can hear you. I can respect that. I'm having a harder time. I'm having just a little bit harder of a time with you.
Just to give her some slack, I 100%
line,
agree with
everybody
what you're
says hi.
saying. And I think when we're having these conversations, I mean, I have in mind, okay, you are trans individuals, your mindset.
Dude, I find all kinds of good stuff, dude. That's why we do this, bro. This is the best.
That all of this is going to be from that mindset. So if I don't completely
Random says hi, everyone says hi.
agree with what you're saying, duh, because we're on the opposite side of the spectrum. So if you're seeing us, conservatives, some of us are Christian, you're going to see that we believe a certain way. We wouldn't come on an episode
Obviously.
if we didn't believe strongly about that. So
That one, she says this one could be trans too, but no, she's conservative.
Seen her face, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, she doesn't have blue hair.
you gotta give a little in that situation.
I just want to also say that there are some trans women that are also
We're gonna trigger
Christian and that
people.
are also conservative and liberal. I'm very much more liberal. And so I think a lot of what you name, I think the point I want to make is a lot of that can be applied to trans women as well too. And so when we understand that our liberation is actually linked or whatnot, I feel like that these conversations can become a lot more fruitful. And that's the reason why I really asked about the whole conservative thing, because I think there's different levels to conservatism. Some are more radical. It doesn't look like y'all are that radical, thank goodness. But yeah, but for what you're giving today, in this moment right now, it's fine. It's fine. And so
They're talking about them being radical.
I think it's really important that we actually ask, what is the conservative woman? And understand that there's different types of trans women. I am probably one of the most liberal, loose trans women up here on this panel, and I'm proud of that, and so some of the same traditions and values that you have, I also have. And so that's what links us together. And so I think when we have conversations around biology and chromosomes and what's male, what's female, gender identity, all of these
They literally
things and
both
whatnot,
said it.
I feel like sometimes it drifts us apart because we're not willing to listen to each other and like look at the science and just understand that. And so I just wanted to bring it back to a place of unity. That's
then I
my
have a
goal.
question for you. Since
Oh my God, bro. Yeah, that dude will take that trans woman right there on the left will take a lot of dudes. A lot of betas.
The great white hope. Beta male.
so we do get some more middle ground
That trans woman right there on the left will take a lot of liberal men.
with each other. What do you think those shared values are?
So to me, womanhood is a social class. We are put in a hierarchy, societal-wise, in the way that we are objectified, the way we are sexualized in porn and on the streets by men, the way our government dictates what we can and cannot do to our bodies, the way the government withholds funding to research medical facilities and things for our bodies as well as biological women's bodies as well. There are many things that we overlap with. And when I look at all of you, I see the similarities before I see the differences, but I also see the struggle. I work in I don't want to say exactly what, but like I work with women every single day, and they tell me about the different things that happen to their body, where they have miscarriages or periods, and it is very hard to watch and listen to. And all I can do is support them and know that they have somebody to look up to. So, I mean, you can think I'm a woman or not. It doesn't really matter to me, but I see the similarity and I see you as a sister to me. If I saw you on the street, I'm gonna do whatever I can to protect you, and I would hope that you would do the same thing for me. So that's just where I am.
And I just want to offer you that.
Some girls
What?
have it.
He said her Adam's apple is showing, and it is showing.
No. But is that a real thing? Because there is some girls that literally have it and they're not.
No,
guys.
bro. Men have Adam's apples.
No, but there's some girls that have it. I'm
There's
not
some
kidding.
men that it doesn't show, but
Yeah.
girls don't have. Guys, do girls have? I don't. Girls don't have.
No, but I've seen some girls. I'm gonna try to think of my own friends
Alright.
that are so skinny.
No.
No, they're so skinny that their right here shows. Their trach.
that space too, because I'm not trying to go in on you, obviously. I just am very, I guess I'm just curious. You know, I'm just very
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, well, hey, I think that's
By the
why
way, like you said, you do like we are going
Joshua
to have
says only
severely
men
different
have
levels
Adam's
of
apple.
conservatism.
Yeah, absolutely.
And religion, all these things are going to dictate the way we see things and respond to
100%.
things.
Hey friends, let's talk really quick about something that could for the people. For the people.
Trans women should be included in women's sports.
Here we go. How many of you think trans women should be in women's sports? Let's correct that. So, how many of you think men should be in women's sports?
I'm not too informed about this topic. I kind of just get my media from.
I'm telling you, I've seen.
I follow an independent page that is unbiased, but I do believe, going on the whole biological thing, when it comes to that, I believe that women and men in general.
She could be a guy. I don't
Well,
care.
she's got all the markers for a liberal. I don't think she doesn't look like a conservative woman to me, but that's my opinion, and I'm gonna go with it. But Loca Brenna says if you can see an Adam's apple on a female, it's a thyroid problem.
They do have different structures for their bodies. They have different ways of being able to build muscle, build up their bodies. And I just believe that women should have their own section. And I feel like possibly trans women and trans men should have their own.
Oh, here.
Going on the whole biological thing. When it comes to that, I believe that women and men in general, they do have different structures for their bodies. They have different ways of being able to build muscle, build up their bodies. And I just believe that women should have their own section. And I feel like possibly trans women and
I just wonder how, even though she's conservative, nothing against anything, but how do you kiss when you have all the?
No, you have to be with someone that has the same.
Well, then you would lock your mouth. You guys would get stuck.
Have you never kissed with braces?
Bro, if she says you gotta kiss another man that's like that too, but then you guys would get mingled up and stuck, no?
You think that, but
the metal. Oh my
trans
god.
men should have their own section dedicated to them because maybe that would also give them more of a spotlight as well.
Yeah, and I can respect that. I feel like there's just not enough of us. You know what I mean?
I'm a little bit I've debated this topic a lot. If you follow me and follow my platform, and I definitely want to respond to a lot of what you're saying. First of all, I would say trans women are women. They're not men. I understand what you're saying. You're probably talking about cis men and cis women. Bodies are different. I totally agree with that. I am a personal believer that trans women do not have a competitive edge. We have trans athletes like Leah Thomas who won 5th place in swimming. She didn't win 1st place. And the thing is, when it comes to trans athletes, their hormone levels have to be at a certain level to be able to participate in the 1st place. And a lot of the controversy with Leah Thomas was she tied in 5th place with Riley Gaines, who I'm not too fond of myself. And so it was this whole conversation around, can trans women have this competitive edge? Absolutely not. It goes back to the conversation that some women have higher levels of natural testosterone than some trans women. And we do not always have the competitive edge over.
Jack Burke says, I'll take that ass. Oh shit. Patriot says, nah, they are dudes as well. They're
athletes.
dudes.
There are plenty of trans athletes out there. Now, there's not enough for us to be able to compete in our own sports. So that's why it's important that trans women play with women in sports. Now, the reality of it is we don't give trans men this same slack and this same mouth like we do trans women. Right? And so my question always becomes, why is that? Why do conservative women not give trans men the same flack that they give trans women in sports? I would love to know the answer to that question.
So for me, I grew up playing sports. Water polo was my thing. And even now, I do martial arts, right? And so
W Joshua, bro. Looks like a big Mike, bro. Oh, dude. Oh, man. So why are you all arguing at this void right now?
Even in water polo, sometimes we would have to practice with the boys. And it was humbling to see the disparity between me as an 18-year-old girl, senior year on varsity, versus a 12 to 14-year-old boy. And that's not because I sucked. That's because they're growing muscles, and there's just, when it comes down to it, you can't fight that biology. And so when I see, the argument that trans
Patriot's exactly right, because trans men will always lose. That's why. That's why, because they don't do it. You don't see trans men go into men's football or men's swimming, because they'll lose.
individuals should participate in women's sports specifically. And to answer your question, why are trans women targeted so much, is because trans men are not going to be winning athletic competitions against biological men, right? Biological women are the ones.
I disagree with that. Patricio, what was Patricio's last name?
It is about
He's won a couple of
900
boxing matches against this man. Patricio Emmanuel, I think that's his.
You see what he said? Joshua says, isn't she supposed to be reporting the news at CNN? Because they all look like trans women.
But that's few and far between, right? And so when we're thinking about somebody, especially after they've gone through puberty, they have the muscle mass of a biological man, they have the lung capacity of a biological man, they have the bone density of a biological man.
Everybody's size, everybody's body chemistry is actually different. You cannot actually measure the size of somebody's heart, somebody's lungs to be able to determine that. There are some cis women who have a higher agility than trans women, because again, Leah Thomas only got 5th place. These trans women are not getting first place across the board. And so I just want to make sure that we're not being intellectually dishonest about people's body chemistry. It is a case-by-case basis. All trans women, all women are not made the same.
I would really love to hear the rest of what you were trying to say.
Yeah, so I just think when it comes down to it, we can say there's an outlier here and there, or there's an outlier where a transgender woman matches the hormone levels. But when we're looking at the averages of a group, a biological man is always going to beat out a biological woman. And so when we talk about, right, like feminism and everything, and like giving women opportunities.
But trans women does not start with biology, it's gender identity.
Just let me finish this one point. For like feminists, I don't know if you like proclaim yourself as feminists, but I would think that a big part of feminism is giving women opportunities. A big part of a lot of girls like me and friends that I have was getting scholarships in sports to go to college. That's how a lot of my friends were even able to go and pursue a degree. And so when they're being beat out, there's like 900 instances globally where trans women have beat out.
Resources? I don't think so. And if your feminism does not include trans women, it's very problematic. I just want you to know that.
That's what I was
there's many instances where trans women have beat out biological women, and that's a sad
we would love to know those resources.
Well, you mentioned Leah Thomas. I know you said that Leah Thomas tied with Riley Gaines.
She would have got 438th if she was competing against other men.
So that's what we're talking about when we say like those opportunities are taken, and I'm sure you believe that Leah Thomas should be in there, but that's one spot that could have been given to a biological woman.
That beat Leah Thomas and Riley Gaines. So what about those women? They were cis women. They were biological women. They were not, excuse me, hold on. Let's not interrupt a black trans woman when she's speaking.
What did she just say?
You do interrupt.
I know, to
Did you hear what she just said? Hold on.
So what about those women? They were cis women. Riley Gaines. So
she says, don't interrupt a black woman. Listen to what she said.
But what about those women? They were cis women. They were biological women. They were not, excuse me, hold on. Let's not interrupt a black trans woman when she's speaking.
Let's not interrupt a black trans woman when she's speaking. She said,
I know, but you're.
She said, let's not interrupt a black trans woman when she's speaking. You hear that? Watch.
Riley Gaines. So what about those women? They were cis women. They were biological women. They were not, excuse me, hold on. Let's not interrupt a black trans woman when she's speaking. Leah Thomas got 5th place.
But you do interrupt.
I know, to devil's advocate, you guys interrupted a million times.
So much
Jerry.
When the only black person's on set,
what does that matter?
I think that we should prioritize the black voice here.
No, I don't agree with that.
If you say that we're all women and we're all equal, then
I don't care.
Then why would you
racist, but that's not fair.
black make you any different?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me powerful. Wink, wink.
So I'll keep it short and sweet, but at the end of the day, I really believe in giving women as many opportunities as possible. And if you come from an athletic background, you know how hard young girls work all throughout their young adult lives to get to be in a Division I college athletic spot. And so when we have these opportunities torn from young women, whether it's first place or fifth place, it's a sad thing. And many of you self-proclaimed feminists, you know, you say that you stand for uplifting women, but at the end of the day, biologically, you are male, and so that is sad that you're taking that spot, or you're advocating for taking that spot away from a biological female.
The respect here.
I don't think they know how to give the respect.
Well, some of them do. Some of them are being respectful.
You're a trans woman, you're biologically male. Is any of that wrong? Okay.
First of
so
all,
I feel like I've been respectful.
No, again, trans women start with gender identity, not biology, because cis people, when it comes to that conversation, it's more about cis people matching with their biology. I just want us to get past that. Stop reducing trans women down to biology.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. That's what
I
makes
think
the
in this
conversation so rough.
topic of conversation, when you're talking about sports, it has a lot to do with biology.
I think you're absolutely incorrect, and that's the thing. I could sit here and show statistics to you all day long. Leah Thomas got 5th place. She did not get 1st place. There are 4 biological women that beat Leah Thomas and Riley Gaines. So your point is minute to me. I'm sorry. But please, one of y'all could go ahead and jump in there, please.
Okay, so I will say where I think, you guys are gonna disagree with me on a little bit on this is where I definitely think there's a lot of sports trans women 100% can compete in that they don't have an advantage. Like I always saw conservatives getting mad about a darts competition. And it's like, why are we getting mad about a trans woman in darts? There's nothing that's gonna give her an advantage. And it was unisex. It wasn't like anything. They were mad because her opponent was a woman, a cis woman, or sorry, just for video terms. But so like I will say, I think this debate does get silly in some points. I think it does go too far in some points, but then I will agree that there is some sports where there definitely is an advantage. Like you said with Leah Thomas, before transition, she was 400th something, and then post-transition, now she's 5th in women's, and there are women who definitely can beat her. And the problem with that is, as you said, we're going on an average sort of basis here, so we can't really let the outliers determine everything else. So I will, like I said, I think it can get a little silly when it comes to certain things, but I definitely see the point of biology mattering into some points. Like, I don't think and I'm sure some of the girls here could compete in like a men's league in any capacity. Like, I would literally get my ass whooped in men's and women's, but at the same time, we're also not every single trans woman. Like, we are not the 4 monolith of.
Oh, sorry, our sound was off. No, I said this cis stuff drives me crazy. I hate it when they say cis man, cis. It's just man and woman.
Trans women. So there's like, obviously for each one of us here, there's gonna be like 100 behind us, and they're all different, and so going based on, an outlier here, I don't really think that's necessarily the call.
I kind of just wanted to throw this in the middle, more so like a personal thing, like to kind of think about as well. I feel like what we also need to consider is like trans women that are on estrogen as well, because we're talking about hormones and everything. And I feel like when that is thought about, we also kind of need to include that. And if that makes sense.
Why? Because hormones don't actually change the biology or the physical makeup.
That's not what we're saying. Untrue. We're not even saying that.
Yeah, but she's saying that, and I'm saying that.
She isn't saying that. She's saying that the hormones affect our.
I'm just kind of like throwing it out there.
No, I really don't. I'm like, if there's very few hills I will ever die on, genuinely for me, and I will say this as respectful as I can, this is one. I'm sure besides you, I really am friends with these people. I work in the space with them. I am at Fox News where I'm watching little girls come in and they are competing. I have made a lot of anti-women content in the past, I will say. I try to be as pro-women as possible now, and this is the only hill, if anything, I will die on. I truly believe the sports need to always be separated to, at the end of the day, protect women. I cannot allow the 1% to take over the 99%, and that's it. I hope that came off as respectful as possible.
Hi, loves. It's me again, Dr. Michelle Daff. We've really been enjoying bless you as much as they've blessed me.
The transgender movement is imposing its ideology on the younger generation.
So personally, I don't really think it's the transgender movement imposing its ideology on kids so much more as a lot of people who act on behalf of the transgender movement, trying to kind of do the whole, I guess, speak over us, speak for us. You know, we have a lot of people who will come up and say very weird, gross things to kids or about kids, and then, you know, they'll claim trans, but at the end of the day, like, a lot of trans women really don't, like, hold, like, I don't know, we're not, how do I say it, perverted in that way. When someone talks about like a kid, like openly talks about like a kid's genitalia in a place full of kids, you know, and then they're talking about, oh, well, I'm representative of trans women. Well, no, you're not, because most trans women that I know, like none of you ladies would ever even think about doing something so disgusting. And so, do I think it's the transgender movement imposing its ideology? No, because I also think at some point, you know, you can't force someone cis or trans, but I will say I think you can, you know, make someone think something about themselves, you know, a young, impressionable kid. But at the end of the day, I really don't think that's on the trans movement. And I don't think you should judge all of trans people for that mistake. Because similarly, back in the day, there was a lot of propaganda about gay men doing that. And we now completely agree, you know, gay men don't really do.
Okay, if that's true, let's just say that's true. But then why aren't they saying anything to their fellow trans, saying, "Hey, dude, stop doing that"?
Yeah, because they're making us look bad.
Yeah.
We're kind of sliding back on that a bit due to some cases, but I think it's kind of unfair to put the entire trans space onto that they're grooming kids or whatever bubble. Even if, you know, I've said and I've protested about certain things like that, and I do agree about things like that still, I haven't changed my mind on that. However, I just don't think it's all of the trans community's fault, and I don't think trans people as a whole should be punished and suffer because of the actions of a few weirdo people who get blown up.
I just want to be accepted. Like, I just want to be, like, received the way that I've always meant to be received. I'm not here to, like, take anything away from you guys. Like, I love women.
Thank you, by the way, because I don't feel that from a lot of gay men, trans, whatever it is. I feel so much hate.
A lot of people, I mean, I've seen a couple of the stuff that you've done. I was a little hesitant when I first saw you. I was a little worried.
That's everyone. Okay.
But I'm seeing the nuance a little bit. And what I wanted coming in here today was to be able to have a conversation about, like, trans women and conservative women, and hopefully we can find a middle ground somewhere. I want you guys to keep everything that you have and more. I want you guys to have all of your bodily autonomy, everything, all of that. I also want the right to mine. And just because you don't understand my experience doesn't mean that I should have it taken away or diminished because of the opposite side, I guess.
Can I just say that trans women just mind their own business? We literally are trying to live our lives each and every day, trying to survive in a world that wants to take us out. We're not trying to
So stay out of the women's bathroom.
To push ideologies on anyone. We're literally minding our own business. I think a lot of, and I'm not saying y'all will do this, but I think a lot of conservative folks like to use propaganda against us to make it seem like we're pushing this narrative that we want little kids to transition and that we want to do this and want to do that, and that's not it. We're literally just trying to survive, and I think sometimes this rhetoric does put us against y'all, and I see past that for the most part. I don't see trans women as an ideology. We're real. We're right here in front of you. Whether you agree with our experience or not, we're here right here before you. And we are just trying to live our normal lives. So many rights are being taken away from us little by little. And I just want to make very clear, the same way transphobia affects me, it could affect each and every one of you too. When you go in the bathroom, somebody assumes that you're trans and you experience violence from men because of this whole narrative that has been put on trans women. Because there are some trans women who are just as passable as you all are, even more. And so I just want us to be made aware.
Definitely a wig. Definitely agree. I definitely agree with Tamara. I would not be able to have a chill conversation, a peaceful argument with them. I'd be up in arms. They do not keep it to themselves. I agree with that. And Rise says you made a good point. They don't even accept themselves.
Well, someone else, I forgot, Joshua probably said that before. I don't know. Somebody said it earlier, but it's just the truth. You can't even accept yourself. Like, just, I don't
and you want to make us accept you for something that you can't even accept your, like, It's even confusing to say it.
Going back to what I said earlier, our liberation is tied. And I just want you to know, trans women like us, we're just minding our own business. We're not trying to push ideology on anything. Yeah. And like you said, me trying to live my life should not take anything away from y'all. Yes. And you're living your life should not take.
Random says, if my daughter is in the bathroom, heaven help you. I agree, bro. And I don't even have kids yet. But if I have a daughter and she's in the...
anything away from me. And so I just think that getting to a place of nuance and understanding nuance is what helps us make the conversation better.
Place of nuance, yes. I think there's a middle ground for me. I mean, if you were to ask me my opinion on your lifestyle as a conservative Christian, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more on a certain side. But I think where the middle ground can be is on the topic of children. I feel it's very similar for many conservative Christians is the topic of children gender transitioning is just, tough. It's tough for me to swallow because for the research I've done and the things that I've seen, I think that there's no reason why if a child is expressing gender dysphoria that we should not wait until they are of the age of consent, the same age that we use to vote, ages to get children that get tattoos, ages, it's 21 to drink. Something that's far more drastic, like changing your sex organs, like doing gender reassignment surgeries, I think we should wait.
Are you okay with the age 16, 17? Because that's usually the age.
Well, I'm just using those as examples for like things that we allow children to do that are far less drastic than getting a gender reassignment surgery.
We agree on 18?
Huh? Yeah. 18?
I mean, 18
if we could agree on 18, I'd be happy.
18 is fine.
Even plastic surgery without your parents' consent, you can't get it until you're 18. So why are we talking about your genitals? Like, what the F?
It's first of all, that's out of control. Second of all, dude, they get their parents' consent. Some of these
No. Some girls, they have big noses. They got to get it right at 18. Their nose drop.
No, I'm saying, yeah, you're saying at 18.
Yeah.
I'm saying some of these parents are pushing their daughters or their son is like 6 years old, plays with a Barbie for half a second.
Everyone does that. Not everyone, but a lot of kids
and
do
they're
that.
already transitioning their son. Oh, you like Barbies? Oh, here, let's show you another pink toy. And let me show you this. And let's put a dress on you. It's like, dude.
The parents have a mental disorder.
Thank you.
No, because like literally my little brother played with Barbies a few times because he saw like my sister playing and he's like, oh, let me play too. And my stepdad got really like.
All of us men wanted to look under the dress of a Barbie when we were fucking 5 years old,
Yeah, and then I had to reassure my stepdad because I was like, he's not,
He's not gay.
Yeah, I was like,
or trans.
Anytime I change, he stops whatever he's doing to take a peek. When he was a little kid. Yeah.
But that's being a man.
Yeah, no.
You're curious.
But I think in some states it's 16 or 17. So I was wondering, like, is that okay compared? Because it's not like 7, 8, 9-year-olds. It's not that. It's more 16, 17.
Yeah, I was just about to say, actually, I feel like I offer a really unique perspective.
Yeah, Tamara says the same thing. She says, my daughter plays with cars and lives cars and loves cars the most. Doesn't mean she's a boy.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Because I had expressed since I could speak that I was a girl. Again, I grew up in a very conservative household with two relatively conservative parents. I didn't know a single gay person. I didn't know a single trans person. In fact, some of the ideology was pushed against me. And I started transitioning medically when I was 24. So I waited a really long time. I expressed my gender identity through the things that I wore and like just like other secondary things in my appearance, but I waited to make that decision. And if I would have had the opportunity, it probably would have saved me from a lot of things like eating disorder treatments and self-harm and mental health crises. Because to be quite transparent with you guys, since I've come out.
What? Amanda says, my daughter's teacher was sending transgender books home to show me.
Oh my God, I would be so fucking pissed. Are we allowed to cuss? Who cares?
Yeah.
I would be so pissed, Amanda. Are you kidding me? What did you do? I want to know.
Wow, dude. What the hell?
As trans, and I've owned my truth, and I've started.
What state is that in?
Medically transitioning. Everything's gone up. every single thing. I mean, I've gotten more confident. I'm getting promotions at work. I have more of a drive and a desire to be a part of like a functioning society than I ever did before.
Australia, dude, woke nation.
Doesn't matter. Even in California, they try to push that shit.
We know that we're in Southern California, but Australia is like even I think maybe more woke. Is Australia more woke than California?
Or I was medically a woman, you know what I'm saying? So I just really want it to be expressed across the board that like,
she's like, I got promotion.
There are people like me and like Blossom and Scarlett and Chrissy that have our experiences as trans women, and it's genuine. It's something real that we went through, and like, I wouldn't discount your guys' womanhood. I would just hope the same from y'all. I don't expect you to agree, but.
Can I speak on the whole like childhood thing? You know, as someone who's kind of like, you know, not really for like kids transitioning, I think what my take on it is, when it comes to the whole grooming thing, what a huge problem in the community is the fact that I will say, I don't think people are called out enough when they do bad behavior. I'll say the gay men community, looping it back to that, they definitely were on top of that when that was a thing, you know, when
Dude, he says they had concentration camps during COVID.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
That's
I heard
nuts,
dude.
dude.
You didn't hear about that?
I did, but I didn't. I don't think it was like actual concentration camps. Dude, that's nuts. And then Han says, my oldest wanted to be a boy, but when we found out, when she found out you can't be a mommy and a girl at the same time, she dropped it. She was told that toys she liked were only for boys. That was hurting her.
Harsh word, but like pedophile, when a pedophile came out, and everyone's like, that's a gay man, you know, because he went after little boys. You know, the gay men community were like, that he's not gay. Like, he could live his whole life as a gay man. The second he does that, he is not gay. He is completely separate from us. And I will say, I think there is a bit of a more need to further it, but part of the reason why predators would even come here is the fact that I think a lot of kids can feel pushed away from their families or something, so they're looking for a community that will accept them, that will do this.
Tia on Instagram says, the brain isn't fully developed until the age of 25. At a minimum, wait until the brain is fully developed. And House Kitty is loving it. House Kitty LA. Guys, if you want to have more action, come over to the YouTube side. We have a lot more people in chat that you can chat with if you want to.
And that doesn't mean you have to say like, oh, exactly, you're completely right on everything, you know, this is the correct way. But I would say, you know, if your kid came up to you and was like, hey, I'm feeling this sort of way, you know, actually sit down. Why are you feeling that way? And actually talk and understand what it is, because you never know, you know, maybe it's not, maybe it is, who knows? But as long as they know that you're there for them and that you're gonna love them, then they're not gonna seek that from anyone else, another adult, you know.
Yeah, I was 20 when I transitioned, but here's the thing though, and I just want to affirm a few things you were saying. I understand your uncomfortability, because there's a lot of folks, I think, on both sides that are very uncomfortable, but you know, I'm definitely for a trans child being able to get their gender affirming care, because there is a whole process with it. Like, you have to have a medical evaluation. You do have to be a certain age anyways to be able to have surgeries or whatnot.
Surgery. I'm familiar with the process.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm glad that you are, because there's a lot of folks that have not. And so the thing is, a trans child can just transition socially and not have anything medically done, or just mentally or environmentally. And so I just want to also bring that to the space too, because I think sometimes people just think that trans kids are just having surgeries at young age, like 7, 8, 9. And I know on the conservative side, a lot of these conservative influencers have run off that propaganda. And I just want to say that's not necessarily what's happening. Like, you have to, like, the doctor has to approve that the child can go through this. Like, they have to see a therapist to make sure this is what you want.
I understand.
You have to talk to the parents. Like, there's a whole process with that.
In best case scenarios, you know, if you're going to do something as severe as that, I would hope that there was a therapist involved. I would hope that there's different medical counsel. When you say gender affirming care, at first it seemed like you were on board with not doing anything to a child until they're 18. Now I'm hearing gender affirming care, which to my understanding is hormone blockers, right? So you're giving hormone blockers to pause puberty, but then it's always, usually, most of the time, it's followed up by giving like testosterone or estrogen, which we know has effects on the body, right? Puberty is the most important time for a young person, right? It's crazy. Everything is changing. when you're doing puberty blockers, you are doing real damage to a young adult.
They're reversible.
Yeah, it is irreversible.
But to your point though, I just want to clarify.
And so let's just want to, like, you're saying gender affirming care, but those are irreversible things, especially when they're done over spans of years. It affects things like fertility.
Dude, from what I heard, they have major issues, and it's not as reversible as people think.
Bone density and all those things.
So we also have to acknowledge that there are some cis children that are also on puberty blockers as well too, because of health risks. Because there's something called precocious puberty, where little kids are coming into puberty a lot faster, and so for health reasons, they're also able to use those puberty blockers as well too. And so that's kind of what I mean about
gender. But not for the extended time that a child who was trans would.
Not
a child who is trans. Precocious puberty.
It just really depends, because we don't. But when I say gender affirming care, though, I'm not necessarily just talking just about medicine. It could be therapy. It could be just having a support system. That could be a part of that as well, too. So it's a very broad and expanded thing. And I think what I was just trying to say was, it's not just about surgeries.
Yeah.
It's just not. And I think that's where I have to say, because like I said earlier, you have to be a certain age to even get the surgeries, but like having a social circle, having a lot of support, and having therapy is a part of that gender affirming care. I mean,
Socially
so
transitioning.
So I am pro, having a support system with the parents, with the child, and I've also heard that there's some trans kids that don't want to talk to their parents about it because it's not safe to. And I also want to bring that into the picture for the trans youth that can't talk to their
Either a better wig or move it up a little bit. She fucking nuts.
Parents,
I don't know, dude. Something's got to give with that wig.
Support it. So yeah.
So in 2022, I ran for a school board. I'm in Orange County, California, and I extensively researched
W Orange County. I'm in Orange County too. Hell yeah.
Curriculum. And I know that earlier in the conversation, you guys said that you don't push your ideologies onto anybody. You guys just want to live your lives. And I do respect that. But we do have to look at the fact that in the curriculum in public schools today, there is trans ideology and LGBTQ ideology that is pushed in the curriculum that is rooted in Marxism. And that's creating a lot of, no, I'm telling you.
Hilarious. Okay, girl.
So you haven't researched it then.
What is Marxism? Yeah, what is Marxism, honey?
Yeah, so it's creating this suicidal ideation in children. And if it's true, trans
I could argue this
kids,
about Christian values.
Yeah, trans kids are 35 to 50% more likely.
Kids are more likely to kill themselves?
That's what I'm saying.
Because you deny basic things to them. They can't even play sports with their friends, girl.
Hell yeah, chicken. W Orange County, bro. We're in Orange County. We're chilling over here.
But is it they're committing suicide because they can't play sports, or is it because they're trans? Having gender dysphoria.
How would you feel as a child if people told if they told you every single day you were wrong and nothing about you is real? They constantly denied you spaces. You were not allowed to play in sports. Like these. Have you ever met a trans child?
Yeah. I have.
Yeah, I have.
And
I work with several.
Okay,
I've worked with 50 plus children who are trans. And you know what they like to do? They like to play with their friends. They like to play kickball. They like to go swimming. They like to be children. If you met a trans child, you would not think anything about them being trans. It doesn't matter to them. They just want to be children.
Well, I think about how it's sad that they've been told that their body they were born in is not enough. You know, a child might be born with
that.
Okay, so I'll finish my thought.
Who said that?
Okay, so
I grew up in a rural area.
So you were a child, right? And you said that you were a girl. And I'm sure somewhere along the line, somebody or social media affirmed that and said to you,
Nobody affirmed that for me. You're talking out of an experience that you have.
At some point.
Hey, babe, listen to me clear. Nobody affirmed that for me, I promise. Years and years and years and years of therapy and self-discovery, and myself is what brought me to that. Promise.
Blair White is literally one of my favorite people. I'm not like, obviously, here's the thing.
I like Blair too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but at no point you can be like, you're anti anything. I live in West Hollywood, like be for real. I would go live in fucking Texas, okay? But it's like, at the end of the day, we need to find some sort of common ground. My common ground would be like, the one thing in WeHo I cannot stand is the flags, American flag represents all of us. It's all of us.
It does not. Not if you're black. Not if you're black.
Okay, so with the BS, yes. So that would be my thing. Let's cut that shit out. American flag.
You don't live
I don't
the
like
black
seeing ugly
experience.
flags.
You
all
don't know
over
what you're
my
talking
town.
about. Move on. Let's move on.
But also, I'm confused. You work with 50
Let's move
trans
on.
children. Isn't that like kind of crazy? There's all these trans children. That was not a thing when I was growing up.
It's always been a thing, honey. You're
They
just
come
so
from Idaho, they
dismissed.
come from Ohio, they come from Utah.
You're disconnected,
I'm the
honey.
most open one. I'm just saying that's kind of crazy to me that there's all these trans children because I don't believe in children being trans.
Openness now, you know.
And they all come to one area for fun, to meet people like them.
No, that's good. I'm not even like putting
women
that
are
down.
an oxymoron to me. There's a lot
I just
of
think
y'all.
that's a lot. Is that not kind of crazy?
It's really not that much compared to billions of biological children who are comfortable with their gender.
Conservative women are an oxymoron.
Well, they should be. The middle ground, I think we can at least come to some degree, is that actual medicalization on kids too young to be able to consent to something as serious as that is wrong.
I believe everyone should be addressed by their chosen pronouns.
Here we go.
It's a debatable topic. I think that that's a basic bare minimum of how trans people should be treated. I don't really have anything to say. I just think that it's a bare minimum. And if it's that difficult for you to respect a trans person's pronouns, I think you should probably go do some internal work on yourself.
I just want to add, I agree with you.
Go do some internal work on yourself. Work on myself. What do you mean?
You go do some internal work.
Oh
on
my
yourself.
God.
Completely. If I feel like respect needs to be
my God,
like just
bro.
something, like just a common staple. Like we should not be fighting with each other so much. Like America, our first foundation is supposed to be respect. This is kind of off topic, but I rave. I believe in plur, peace, love, unity, respect. I have it tattooed on me.
You don't say.
I believe everybody should just respect each other. And I feel like that's not a hard concept. It's just, it's simple, it's easy, and it only gets difficult when it just, trying to think. It only becomes difficult
When
if
politics get in the way?
It's only
when politics
difficult
get in the
for
way?
her when she kisses another man that has piercings in his mouth too, because then they get stuck.
But they're on ecstasy, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
I think it's a matter of politeness, and politeness is personal. Like, I'm getting to know you guys now and gaining a respect for you coming on the show and sharing how you feel, and that's personal. So I would like to be polite and speak to you and address you how you'd like to be, addressed. But I feel like compelled speech, where we have to address any trans person by their pronouns that we don't know, is government overreach. So I think there has to be that personal relationship and not a forced speech. I don't think we should be forced to call any trans person by their pronouns, because there are so many. I think right now we're at 72 or 73 different genders. There are some that I read that's spelled ZE or XA, and do people even know what those are? How can everyone keep track
Why
of
do
all
we
of
need
them?
to know, though? Like, if you came up to me and said, "Can you call me Sock?" Work. I will gladly call you Sock if it makes you happy.
Did she just say sock? Like socks? What are we talking about right now, guys?
And I'm going to be honest, like, I don't even really care if you wanted to call me he, him. I'm very secure with who I am. I'm very secure with who I surround myself with. And I believe it's your right to say whatever you want, sure. And I believe it's your right.
She literally just said sock. What are we talking about?
What the? That's amazing. Are you out of your cotton picking mind? Are you out of your cotton picking mind?
Shit. How are you supposed to keep up? You can't. Imagine if you want to go and remember everybody. Oh, that one's sock, and this one's rubber, and that one's churro, and that one's... what are we talking about?
Right, to deal with the consequences that come with saying whatever you want. That's completely fine. I just think the topic is really weird to go out of
This one scares me the most of all three.
your
Of all
way
four.
to make somebody feel upset or sad about themselves when they're just being like, can you please call me this thing?
That's not what I said. Wait, I don't believe in going out of your way to disrespect people, but I'm sorry if I see Lily Tino, that is a man. I'm calling him a man. That is, by the way, the worst representation of trans people. He is a legally I can't say, but starts with a he in my mind. But that is a dude, and I'm calling it he, him.
If you feel like she's the, if you feel like that she is the, I'm going to say she. If you feel like she's the worst trans person, that's your opinion. Yeah, but the reality of it is, you learned pronouns when you were in first grade English class. You use pronouns every single day.
I only know
to your point.
Yeah, we learned she and he. That's how it goes. And then you're trying to make us, dude. When they were trying to make me call non-binaries they them, I was like, dude, what are we talking about? They? That's that person. I'm gonna call that one person they. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no. But here's the thing, to your point though, because I think you bring up an interesting point.
Do you smell what the sock is cooking?
Point about the expansiveness of pronouns, right? But the reality of it is, there's different types. There's the subject pronouns, the object pronouns, the possessive pronouns, the interrogative pronouns. Like, you use yours and mines each and every day. And so what I'm saying is, I agree with those that say that they just want basic respect. And it seems like you have the respect. Yeah. You're there. So I think with me, it's kind of confusing because you sit here and you just told us that you want to be polite and address us the way we want to. That's what trans people just want you to do.
And I don't think we're talking about government override. I think we're talking about like kind of what you said, honestly, like personal politeness.
Or in the workplace, you know, I don't want to be forced to call somebody something absolutely ridiculous. You know, it's like, I think we should just keep the two. He and she.
But that's not your choice.
That's
really not really your choice.
Why?
Well, it's just,
I hear you.
Yeah, your
really
choice either, though, to change the entire trajectory
That's not what I'm doing,
male and
Definitely, I agree with BTK. They're disrespecting our intelligence with trying to tell us to lie.
female for the. Yeah, so I mean, you just said like you're not allowed to change that, but the trans movement, the entire thing is trying to change what has been for thousands of years. And at the
No offense, Pineapple, but if I see a man, if I see someone that looks like a man, it's a man to me. I mean, I'm not crazy, and
I still mess that up on accident. Like, sometimes I call a guy that looks girl like her.
I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to mess around. And if you don't like the sound, if words coming out of someone's mouth triggers someone or makes them feel a way, that's the word. This is the world you live in. You gotta like grow up a little bit.
At the end of the day, I mean,
deal with it.
I have my beliefs. I don't think we should have to change all of society for a supposed 1% of the population. And I believe that for many other things. I have my own trials and tribulations, but I don't think
W. Elmo, offense is not given, it's taken.
The world should have to cater to me just because of my specific niche issues. You know what I mean?
But you should be respected for your pronouns. You deserve.
I just pinned that one, and I want to hear what she said, but I just pinned that one. That was a good one, bro. Freaking Elmo came through on it.
So to change the entire trajectory
That's not what
of
I'm doing,
male and female for the. Yeah. So I mean, you just said like you're not allowed to change that, but the trans movement, the entire thing is trying to change what has been for thousands of years. And at the end of the day, I mean, I have my beliefs. I don't think we should have to change all of society for a supposed 1% of the population. And I believe that for many other things. I have my own trials and tribulations, but I don't think the world should have to cater to me just because of my specific niche issues. You know what I mean?
But you should be respected for your pronouns. Absolutely. You deserve respect.
I don't think I've used any wrong pronouns here today.
No, we're not saying that. I don't need to force someone to use a specific word for me to feel respect.
Yeah.
That does not.
Sir, I had like.
Oh no, you didn't say mustard. I like to be. I'm mustard. How dare you?
Oh my God, these people.
I don't need to force someone to use a word to feel like I got respect. I don't need to do that.
Yeah, I don't think I should have to. I think if I were to use the pronouns that you don't want me to use, then you know what? Tough. Like
no, but you get to reap the consequences of that.
Well, what are the consequences?
That part.
Wait. This is extremely important. Okay. If she
It is very important. That's why BTK just said, I insist you call me king. You know how far we can take this?
I know.
You know how far we could go with this?
I'm like trying to think of what I want to be called.
Oh, I mean, what are the? I mean, I identify as president of the United States.
Don't joke.
That's it. Great White Hope. You know what? I'm wearing the shirt right now. I am the Great White Hope. Here we go.
The Great White Hope. The Great White Hope.
From now on, you got to call me the Great White Hope, baby. If not, that's a major disrespect, okay?
Calls you, he, him.
The chicken. That's
What did it say to you? What did he say? My pronouns are Ida.
What are the consequences?
Oh my
Because to
God,
me,
bro.
that sounds like a threat. It does sound like a threat. And that's an issue if it's a threat.
So here's the thing, though. Let's address that. It's not necessarily a threat.
It depends on what day you catch me on, Hans. I'm brown, I'm white. My thighs are whiter than most white people you've ever met in your life. My mom and her are whiter than most people.
I look tan here.
Today you're tan on this, yeah.
But there are consequences for your actions. So if you were to do that in the workplace, if you were to misgender me, that would be considered transphobia, and that is against company policy. 100%. And so little stuff like that, whether you agree with that or not, little stuff like that matters. So when she was saying that,
company
it doesn't
policy.
mean a threat. It means that in certain situations,
that's not
there
what
could be consequences.
No, I mean, like, I don't have to
this is where your side.
No, thank you for clarifying that.
No, for sure.
Thank you for clarifying that. As a woman, the first thing I think, being on guard all the time, is like, oh, you're now threatening my safety as a woman, and that would freak me out.
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
So
I think
as
it was. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, as the only person who did the downvote, I actually think I agree much more with you than anyone here. For example, if someone comes up to me and they tell me, refer to me as sock, I'm gonna, be like internally, okay, whatever. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure, why not, sock. But at the end of the day, I don't think it should be.
She just said sock again? Are we in Twilight Zone right now? This is can you? What is going on right now?
The only person who did the downvote, I actually think I agree much more with you than anyone here. For example, if someone comes up to me and they tell me, refer to me as sock, I'm gonna, be like internally, okay, whatever. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure, why not, sock. But at the end of the day, I don't think it should be.
Guys, please, what is happening, dude? Is this for real? This is real life now, guys. This is real life. Can you believe this? If you told me to call you sock, I'll call you sock. Guys, wow.
As you said, legally allowed, but like I know some people, I'm in group chats, like I had in group chats with guys, and like let's say 5 of them are like, oh, you're pretty. Then they know I'm a guy, and then they're like, oh, you're a fucking, you're a dude, he, him, whatever. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. You guys are gay. Who cares? And then it's like, everyone else in there is like, oh, she, her, whatever. So then I can just ignore the people who are like he, him, whatever. Like, okay, you guys are doing that intentionally. You're gonna call me one thing, and then as soon as you find out I'm trans, you're gonna completely back on it, and then go back to he, him. Like, I think that's a little ridiculous and silly. But at the end of the day, it's just like whatever. As she said, I'm secure in myself enough to not really care. And when it comes to the whole consequence thing, I just think it really matters on intent. I think if you're intentionally going out of your way to try to hurt someone and to try to bully someone, then yeah, I do think that there is going to be a little bit of consequences. Not necessarily.
No, we're not going out of our way to hurt or bully someone. We're just going out of our way to keep ourselves sane. That's all we're doing. We're literally just trying to make life easier.
We're asking, like, don't put your thing on us and our kids and schools and shows, and like, you want to be gay and you want to do it up the butt or whatever you want to do it. People have been doing it since like a million years ago,
dude.
Just don't like impose your shit on us and then make us tell you like I'm a they. What the fuck is they?
Dude, I just like, dude.
But like, if you come up to someone, like, let's say I'm at work, and then
I just want to make things easier on myself. I don't need to remember all this extra stuff, dude. I already have a hard time, all the different things I'm trying to learn and read, and the knowledge and everything is now I have to stuff all this extra stuff and worry about calling you sock or come
then someone
on.
comes up to me, accidentally thinks I'm a guy, I'm not going to be like, oh, HR, come fire this person. Right. Yeah, so like that's just my take on it.
I kind of feel like you guys would, though. I feel like you would.
No.
Be so real.
No.
Yeah, come on.
Well, there are people that are trying. Well, that's the thing. People try.
I feel like you're waiting for
but
it.
You could, when a trans woman can tell when somebody is genuinely trying. If you're genuinely trying to learn and trying to grow, I'm not going to penalize you for that. But I think it's when it comes to being malicious that's the problem.
Yeah, I work in customer service, so I mean,
what did she say?
W. Justin, bro. 90s were amazing, bro. We did not go through this in the 90s. I agree. And Hans too, bro. Absolutely.
I work with people every single day, so it does happen, you know? I think it's about intent. And I think that's a really good place to kind of bring that is like, if I know somebody just is like confused, there's been plenty of situations, like I'm earlier in my transition, I am gonna offer grace and I'm gonna offer space. Now, I bring nuance. Like if it's intentional, you can often
There's that word nuance again. I'm telling you, bro, we would be smashed by now if we were drinking on that word.
see, especially if you correct somebody, which I'm gonna be so honest, I normally won't. Like I'm not gonna be, I don't care. Like I just feel we should be respected where we're at. And going kind of back to what I said about the consequences, I really did just mean I don't have to engage with you. Like
It sounded like you wanted to meet her outside.
No, that's how it sounded to me, and that's why I was like, that's an issue.
Yeah.
And that's why I
but that's why I'm
clarified it. I
clarifying.
clarified
Okay.
it.
No, I just don't,
I agree with Chicken. Chicken says, bro, we grew up in OC. That's where we are now, guys. I don't remember one trans person in high school. There were some gay, lesbian people, but no trans.
We were just having this conversation the other night.
Yep.
Literally, like, yeah, there was some like lesbians, some gay guys.
Yep.
Like, they were cool. They didn't bug anybody.
Yep.
They just like were. They just
Yep.
liked it.
They didn't care about nothing. We were fine with them. Nobody
Actually, they
cared.
were funny. They were fun.
They were hilarious, bro. We had a good time. We all loved each other. And gay guys would hit on me. I was like, whatever. I'll take it as a compliment, you know. But like, dude, nowadays it's like a whole thing.
I wouldn't engage with you. Yeah. Is if I was met there, you know.
Can I just say too, I mean, obviously you're not gonna agree, I do not believe in protected speech for everybody. I do not believe in hate speech. I don't believe in any of that. It's either no speech to me or all speech. So for me, the fact that I could be working with a trans woman, and if this guy like was like, hey baby or whatever to me, like women have been through hell in the workplace since like the dawn of time. I think of my personal experience. So it's like the fact that I could like accidentally misgender someone and then they could go to HR and I could lose my job as a woman to me is so crazy.
Yeah,
so legally I couldn't get behind that.
Yeah, and like to me, like I do agree. I think that, you know, like I said, if it is an accident, then yeah, that's wrong. But I think if you're maliciously, you know, and there's, like she said, you can tell when someone's kind of being malicious about it, even if you don't correct them. You know, sometimes the people like stare at you and then they'll say it, or like, you know, I work in customer service too. I worked Del Taco shift manager at one point, and you know, I had some woman come up and like screaming in my face. This was during COVID era. You know, calling me like, I can't tell if you're a fucking man or a woman or this, that, you know, because my voice is the way it is. My voice is T, and you know, but when I have my hair fully back, you know, I'm giving forehead. So obviously it's
Can
gonna
I
be.
point out I get called trans 5,000 times a day?
I can believe it.
No,
and the same way, and the same way you said that
literally
women-
5,000. Go to my comment section.
And the same way that you said women's safety, it's also trans women's safety too. Like, you know, men do approach us and may not always know the tea.
She
And so
gets
we
called.
also
So
experience that.
she's on Fox, and she gets called trans a lot by people on the left that are like trolling her or like really mad at.
Being haters because she looks really feminine.
They're mad at her. She does not. She looks hot actually.
Yeah, she's a pretty girl.
Same harassment that you do experience as well too. You know what I mean?
I just want us to be equally protected. I don't want someone to have extra benefits. That's all I mean. Like if I'm getting harassed, you're getting harassed. I want it dealt with HR the same way. I don't want to be like, wait.
Like
you
if
get,
someone's
like,
coming
more
up and
protected?
calling me a fucking man predator, stay out, then you want to be taken serious.
Denying trans people healthcare is a human rights violation.
I'm curious.
I don't think that anybody should be denied health care. I don't think that the health care between men and women are the same, or cis women, trans women. It's between men and women. Everyone should have the opportunity to get health care. I don't feel like it should be subsidized for trans people. I don't feel like in the military they're paying for sex change operations and gender affirming care. I don't believe that should be the case at all. But if it's the same type of health care that we all need. Like, we get the flu, we break our arm, we need glasses. I don't feel like anybody should be discriminated for basic human rights. We all deserve basic human rights, but I don't think that one side deserves more or special care than any of the other.
Can I ask for clarification?
Justin says, it's weird. People are going to start identifying as animals soon. Sorry, bro. They already do. You're behind on that one, big bro.
Yeah, what would you like clarified? Which part?
So it's because I was on board, but I see kind of what you're doing, like dancing around gender healthcare, and for me that is a life-saving healthcare. And that's not up to opinion, really. That's my personal experience with it. So you believe that we should be, where I think the prompt is more directed into, like, should trans people have access to trans healthcare?
Like, should you be allowed to transition, things like that. And on that note, you brought the military. That's why I thought it was very silly when people were like, oh, well, we shouldn't allow it because it's so expensive, it's draining our money. Well, let's put it in this perspective. Trans healthcare, when it comes to government insurance, makes up about, I think, $13 million versus Viagra getting sent to soldiers makes up $44 million. And I think as long as you're talking about helping soldiers get erections overseas, the idea that a trans woman shouldn't be allowed to have HRT because of that to cut spending, maybe if we cut down on like a million other things that are being completely overshadowed on, then I wouldn't be open to it, but I'd understand it a bit more. But as long as we're still, like I said, as long as we're still funding Viagra and at 4 times the rate that we're funding transitional care, then I think the topic is silly.
What's the difference between women getting birth control, right, being able to access birth control, and me as a trans woman being able to afford gender-affirming care?
That is
hormone replacement
completely different. Getting the birth control pill versus a surgery.
But that's not what I'm talking about. We're not talking about surgery.
What are you talking about then?
Like hormone pills, birth control. Why is it you can have yours, but I can't have mine?
Because I'm actually a woman.
That means nothing.
Damn, bro. This one is coming in hot.
I am, and I actually
I'm a trans woman.
A period,
and here's the thing, I'm a trans woman,
and
I also have healthcare needs. I don't need to have a period. I don't need to have a period to experience the things that I experience as a trans woman. Here's the thing, we get blood.
She wants to take what's it called, pills? What are we talking about right now? Oh my God, bro.
Just like cis women do. We get heart attacks just like cis women do.
And that's a human health
We get other things, but here's the thing though,
but
we're all connected.
Thing.
That is also a trans health.
Babe, she's talking about taking birth control pills. No. Dude, are we okay? But by the way, Justin, here's the Discord chat, bro. Since you're a member, man, come into our Discord. Hit that up. We have a public channel too, but you got a members only Discord, bro. Dude, are we kidding right now? She's talking about birth control pills?
It's inclusive
it's a human healthcare thing.
It is inclusive of trans people. That is what I'm trying to get you to understand.
It's not exclusive.
It is inclusive.
If we all have heart attacks and we all have blood clots,
but the thing is, though, I should
be
able to get access to care as a trans person, and you have no right to tell me that I do not deserve to.
It's elective.
It doesn't matter. Well, women get boob jobs too, and it's elective.
But
so
are we paying for people's boob jobs?
I do not believe in universal health care. I do not believe birth control should be given out under health care. I think it's terrible for women and young girls. They should be educated naturally on their bodies. I think that is for the government to literally make us sick and kill us. I do not believe $1 should go to anything trans or transitioning. I'm so sorry. Women get cancer, lose their breasts, all these things. Children have cancer. I would give that money to anything in the world. That is a choice. I cannot put $1 towards that.
So
that's all.
Can I, what's it called? Just like kind of talk on that.
Oh my God, bro. Chicken says that wig is birth control enough. Damn,
so when it comes
bro.
to the whole, talking about cancer and everything like that, I will definitely agree. Those are extremely major issues. But so is like transitional care. Like as earlier when we talked about the trans sports thing, we talked about averages. And you can say that, there's still a high suicide rate, whatever, but the average trans person is going to be happier post-transition. And I will say, maybe there.
Oh my God, this can't be real. Joshua in the chat says the lady told Senator Kennedy that men can have anal babies. Oh my God, I have to see that. Senator Kennedy is one of my favorite public officials on the planet. And I love him, the way he talks. He has seasoning. He has He has style. Dude. Let's dude, we got to find that.
Hold on. Sorry, love. I'm sorry that came off rude, but I will say there's definitely some people who, maybe transition isn't the best way, so then it goes wrong. And then, being trans, there is a lot of things with it. Gender dysphoria is such a bitch. But also at the same time, some people, like me, for example, I live my whole
Pineapple, nobody hates you. In my channel, we don't have hate, and we love dialogue. We enjoy good humor, and we like to be adults and laugh at each other, and we make fun of each other. We have a good time, but we don't hate each other. We're here for open dialogue. We can disagree. Actually, a lot of us in the chat are on both sides of the aisle.
Whole life, and just like she said, ever since I was born, ever since I was 3, I got in trouble at school because I would tell kids that I was a girl and that my, what's fake, and that my parents wanted a boy. And so it is a life-changing thing, and it is a medical issue. And, living my life through dysphoria, I can sit and talk to somebody, and there's been so many different ways. It's not like transition was the first thing that everyone jumped on, was like, yeah, this is the way you treat it. There was therapies, there was, even sometimes loading trans women full of testosterone to see if that would fix the issue. And a lot of the times, these don't fix the issue. And while things could fix it for one party, maybe it won't. And I'm not, going to say anything personal.
Chicken says, no hate in my heart for anyone but my ex-wife.
No, but let's just say, we rewind time 10 years, me and Blossom are the same age, and, she has really bad dysphoria, and, we both have what we think is dysphoria. Well, let's say transition works perfectly for Blossom, and, it does improve her life. She's suicidal before, and now she's happy, she's vibrant, and she's living her life, and she's actually able to do it. But then let's look at me, and then let's say, oh, well, let's say maybe transition was wrong for her or him, whatever, and then I wouldn't say use me as the example of why I shouldn't be allowed for her. So
there you go. Wait, but I get the two different scenarios. I'm literally just saying I do not believe in us paying for it because we don't agree for it. So I would just say not $1 to that.
But
And I would say not $1 to all the other
But
things
I also
as well.
agree that we need more to allocate certain spending, not on transitional care, but we definitely do need to reallocate government spending on more important things. Like you said, there's I think it's kind of
a kid with cancer.
Yeah, and I think it's ridiculous that we don't
I don't agree
allow.
with you, but I can appreciate you being an equal opportunist.
Yeah.
I don't I think in a world where we don't pay for skin.
BTK, I didn't know this. He says he's a retired doc. He says, BTK in the chat says, I'm a retired doc, and my concern is their mental health. Yeah, I agree that, you can feel certain ways. I know there's lesbian people, gay people. They know they are a male and they like other males, or they know they are a female and they like other females. But when you are a male, but you want to say you're a female, or if you're a female and you say I'm a male, that to me is that to me doesn't work, in my opinion.
Graphs for severe burn victims, we definitely need.
And it's a catalyst for lots of problems for that person.
To open that up when we shouldn't be, bring it back to the Viagra point again, we shouldn't be paying for soldiers to be able to get erections when we have people in the U.S. who are dying. We have people in the U.S. who, like I said, they suffer these horrible disfigurements, and they can't even get the plastic surgery to fix that. I do think that needs to be fixed, and that does need to be changed, but I also don't think that needs to take away from trans medical issues or things like that to do so.
I mean, yeah, that's why I kind of put that I didn't think it was necessary, because overall healthcare for men and women both, I think, yeah, okay, you should be able to go and get that kind of healthcare. But when it's subsidized by the government, gender transitioning, I think that's where I draw the line, because I agree kind of on that point. I don't think a lot of things should be subsidized by the government.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
If you want to continue, you can continue. Sorry, I'll ask after.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my point, is I just think because it's a choice, it's something that you choose for yourself. I know we could debate back and forth on that, but it's something you want to go and get breasts, you want to get a sex change, you want those hormone blockers so you can feel more like a woman. I don't think that my taxpayer dollars should have to fund that, and I don't think my taxpayer dollars should have to fund a lot of things. So
what about antidepressants for someone who is depressed or something like that?
Nope.
No.
I mean, let's say
so we just have opposite views, I think, on terms of that, and I kind of respect it.
Wait, can I ask?
Elmo, is that a real thing? That's what it is? Internal sleeves? What the hell?
understand it, actually.
Guys, I'm gonna put a link to our Discord in there for the OGs that are joining me and supporting me this early on. We're going hard. It's already 5,200 subscribers. Feel free to jump into the Discord server, and we're gonna bring people into the member side early on and kind of get some of the OGs in there. So if you guys want to jump on Discord, kind of feel free to get in there, and we'll get that warmed up for us.
I agree with subsidizing whatever. If I wanted boobs to make me feel more feminine because I have no boobs,
that could be access to gender affirming care for you.
If it cures or calms down your suicidal thoughts, or if it improves your mental health, I am for it. And your quality of life, I'm definitely for it. I actually understand your standpoint on not wanting to.
She's literally saying you can go get boob job and everyone should pay for your boob jobs if you think it will help your mental health. How many girls do you think will come out and say, you know what, if I get a boob job, it's going to help my mental health?
Subsidize this. I completely understand it. I don't agree with it, but I do understand,
Taxpayer paid, taxpayer funded boob jobs.
But here's the reality. Our tax dollars are funding things that we don't like, and there's nothing that we can do about it. And so I think that's just something that we can't control. We don't have no
And
control
at least
around it.
I'm going to
So
say this just from my personal
clear.
standpoint. The reason why I'd be more hesitant on that is because unlike body dysmorphia, which, it can be talked through, it can be, cured basically, you can't really do that with gender dysphoria. You can alleviate it, and there
Kira Gaia says, I identify as a man with a 16-inch. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to pay for it. Oh
There's some people who, like I said, maybe they don't need a transition to alleviate it. Maybe they can live their lives as cisgender perfectly fine, but they have these dysphoric thoughts. But then there are people where it is more severe. I think if body dysmorphia, you couldn't cure it at all and it was just awful, then yeah, totally. But you can have a therapy talk down, whereas gender dysphoria, you can't really talk down that. It's just there. You're born with it. It's kind of just an innate fact of you, which is unfortunate.
No, I just appreciate consistency. You know what I mean?
No, I get that.
Because if you said no, I think that would be super unfair.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, I actually like that you brought that in a little bit, because I do feel like even cisgender people do get gender affirming care. I know somebody that was a man that had he grew breasts naturally. He was
Pineapple says, after you transition, Pineapple says, after you transition, you get an unreasonable amount of hate, harassment, pressure, not feeling enough. Pineapple, I think whether you transition or you don't, if you're being if you're trying to be something that you're actually not, you're going to have all of those things happen regardless.
testosterone normal human and had to get it removed.
Who paid for that?
Huh?
Who paid for that?
I honestly, I'm going to be real. I'm not 100%.
And again, no hate. Don't feel any ways about nothing. No bad dogs, no nothing. It's just, I just don't think it makes sense. And I think it's really bad for the actual person that's going through that.
Sure. I don't know. But I was more so just bringing up the fact that I do believe that cisgender people can also receive gender health care. You kind of see what I'm saying?
I'm willing to learn from women with different gender identities.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't willing to hear from different people. Now, whether or not I'm going to take what you're saying as Bible, no, probably not, but I can come here and I can try to approach it from an empathetic and compassionate point of view. I think for me, one of my hesitancies with coming on an episode like this is I never want my politics to overshadow the love I have for other people. And I just want to let you guys know that there's so much love for you, and I can try to put myself in your shoes to where if I was in a body that I didn't feel comfortable in, how hard that would be. And so there's so much compassion from my side. Now, I also want to speak in truth. And so when I speak to you, I want to try to tell you what I believe to be the truth. Because if I believe all these things, but I'm not telling you how kind of me is that really from my perspective. And so yes, I'm happy to come here and I'm happy to hear from you so that I can develop a further understanding. But at the end of the day, am I going to take your opinions as just as valuable as a biological woman? No, probably not.
So that's the reason why I put no up. I am happy to be here and listen to you guys as people and learn about your lived experiences and what you guys go through and listen to your opinions. But do I take that to change my core beliefs? No, because as you guys know, in my opinion, I don't feel like you guys are actual women. I know that you guys are biological men. And so that's the reason why I gave the answer I did, because I'm not learning from another woman, but I'm learning from another human being.
BTK says they think that a question or concern is hate. Very true.
And that's okay.
They consider a lot of things to be hate, and you know, yeah, it's just it becomes a sensitive thing, and it just it goes back to what Elmo said. Offense is not given; it's taken.
I just feel like you didn't come here in good faith. You specifically. I feel I receive things from you. I've taken things from you. I've taken things from you. You're the only one that I'm having a rough time because you're talking in absolutes. Even you. I was fully expecting you and I thought you were the worst. No, seriously. And I hear, and even you, like, I heard that first part. I really do. And I honestly, I'm going to be real. Like, I do receive your empathy. I do see that you're a kind person. And I received that from you as well. You were very kind when we went into the dressing rooms and
And you don't think I'm kind now? But it's how I feel, and it's the truth. I don't want to lie to you.
Yeah,
I want to.
I was just saying.
I want to be truthful to you. I feel like being truthful to you guys is very respectful. Like she said, if I lie to you, it doesn't do any good. You guys have said things that I don't agree with, that I feel are not true, but that's your opinion. And this is my opinion, and I'm being truthful with you. I'm not trying to be rude to you. I'm not trying to disrespect you, but you're learning about the other side. And so by learning about the other side, you're gonna have to hear stuff like this that you don't agree with.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give some hard truths because you also have to hear about the other side that you don't agree with.
You guys are mentioning in the chat about white hate, and I think that's become the biggest thing lately. And I'm not just saying that for any reason, but I have noticed that it's not only become, I think it's always kind of been okay to hate white people. It says white men are the most hated group in America. And it says it is fashionable to hate the whites. White people are the most hated. Yeah, that's a big thing right now.
Now,
that's what I'm here for, to hear from the other side.
I'm personally grateful to be here because having this conversation with women, cis women, the biologicals, anything you want to name it or whatnot, it's a very challenging conversation because there's so much hatred online that puts us against each other. And so at least us being in alignment to have this conversation, whether we agree with each other, it's actually moving the needle forward. I have love for y'all.
100% specifically white men. Yeah.
Don't agree with 99.99% of the things that y'all said, with the exception of you, you're a little bit more. And I was really surprised by you because I thought you would be the worst.
Okay,
but the thing is, the reality is, I have an experience, and this is my reality. We come here.
Oh, that one ended abruptly. Holy cow. I want to pull this other clip that
when
you guys are talking about.
When a conservative speaks on a college campus, anything can happen. Myself,
I want to pull up this other clip with Senator John Kennedy, bro. Which one is that? Can you tell me? You said Senator John Kennedy, and someone said they can have anal babies. Straight. Where is that one, bro? Where is that one? Joshua, can you give me the title of that clip with John Kennedy? Let me just do a search. John Kennedy, anal babies. Wait, I couldn't find it. had a food baby this morning. But we're gonna after this we're gonna call it a night, and I'll be back on tomorrow morning. If you guys are curious about Discord, we have Discord set up. We have a public channel, and then we have our members only channel. But this is Discord. We're trying to get some of the OOGs into the member side, and Justin definitely come over. But let me know if you could find Democrats think men could get pregnant. Democrats think, is that the name of the video? Think men can get Kennedy. Trying to find that, bro. I don't know. Far left Berkeley law professor. That's Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Before I want to visit with you, Ms. Matsky, but before I do, I just want to clear one thing up. Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups.
Is this the video? So it's not Kennedy, it's Senator Hawley?
Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this
What
how you
are
run
we
your
talking
classroom?
about?
Are students allowed to question you, or are they?
Bro, this is some nutty stuff, dude. Holy cow.
Also treated like this, where they're told that they're opening up people to violence.
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Ms. Matsky, let me ask you something. So you provide health care to women free of charge, right? Is that right?
Absolutely.
You've done this for many years.
Yep.
You have licensed medical professionals at your pregnancy care centers. Is that right?
That is correct.
What are some of the resources that you provide for women who come to you in a time of need?
So-
just give us you talked about it in your written testimony, but just give us a sense of it.
So we have 3 OBGYN doctors, 5 registered nurses, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, phlebotomists, medical assistants, and we provide prenatal care, OBGYN care. We provide pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, well woman visits, breast exams. We provide a wide range of medical services, yes.
So what do you think about the DC politicians now saying that your clinic and the other 3,000 pregnancy care centers around this country are fake medical clinics? For instance, Senator Warren has said, it's now more important than ever to crack down on so-called crisis pregnancy centers that mislead and deceive patients. Senator Menendez, crisis pregnancy centers jeopardize women's health and well-being, all while elevating unproven theories about birth control. Senator Warner wrote to Google asking them to censor search results for care centers like yours, saying, directing women to fake clinics that traffic and misinformation is dangerous to women's health and undermines the integrity of Google's search results. Do you run a fake clinic? I mean, is that what's happening here? You don't provide actual medical care to actual women?
We absolutely do not run a fake clinic, and we have a full medical staff. Like I said, many of our medical professionals have experienced abortion for themselves, including our OBGYN doctor who used to perform abortions. So our entire medical staff is there for women, whether they choose abortion and walk out the door or whether they choose life for their baby, and we support them for years after that.
Do you think there ought to be an ideological test to be able to get medical care in this country? I mean, should we say to women, well, you have to agree with the DC Democrats' ideology, otherwise you can't go get medical care? Or maybe for you and the physicians who work at your pregnancy care center or the thousands of others across the country, should we impose an ideological test on them and say that, well, you have to agree with the DC Democrats' position on abortion or you can't provide medical care to women? Should we do that in this country?
Absolutely not.
I just want to ask in my few remaining seconds here, Ms. Harley, the Dobbs decision, as I understand it, I've read it now a number of times, it gives to voters the decision as to what laws should be pertaining to life and pertaining to abortion in all 50 states and other jurisdictions around the country. I'm just curious, do you know what percentage of voters in this country support the DC Democrats' position that they want to impose on the entire country, a one-size-fits-all rule they want to impose from the top down? Do you know what percentage of voters support their position, which is also, by the way, the same position taken by North Korea and China, other notable violators of human rights? Do you know what percentage it is?
I know that nearly 90% of Americans oppose abortion in the third trimester. The number that would support abortion up to the moment of birth has to be minuscule. It's a horrific policy.
Yeah, I mean, based on the most recent Harvard poll that was just released just a few days ago, it's less than 10% of voters say that they would support.
Joshua, is it Josh? Who is it? Where is it the anal babies? Was that the one? Is there one with Senator Kennedy? Pineapple, thanks for joining us. Honestly, really glad to have you. Come back anytime. Thank you for subscribing if you did. Love to always have open dialogue. Thank you. Really glad to have you. It's all of those. I'm trying to find Kennedy, bro, because I would love to see Kennedy talk to her because, dude, that dude's got spice, man. He's got personality. Come on, Kennedy. Come on, buddy. Where you at, bro? Oh, man. Come on.
Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions. And this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Just. Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand.
Kennedy is my favorite senator to listen to.
Thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged, but again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can say
and what does intersex mean?
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender, and I think in these conversations we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex. Okay, there's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive, and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I talk to young people that
Here we go, bro. Here we go.
Are you out of your cotton picking mind? Are you out of your cotton picking mind? What the?
talk about non-binary as
More than 5?
I think the gender is not a binary, is what I'm trying to say.
Are there more than 5 genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than 5 genders?
Well, I mean, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than 5?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is that gender is a reflection.
Number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
W. Justin, bro. He says he introduced his in-laws to Jesse, and they loved it, bro. We love Jesse, bro.
What the? That's amazing. That's amazing.
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
You mean my man crush, Jesse Lee Peterson?
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are 3 sexes, male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number.
What the?
What is going on?
What the? That's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl. Okay? Biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician, and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter.
You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Okay.
Wow.
I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business. But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport, in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kennedy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I have. I have watched the movie Graduate. Look up a movie called The Graduate. Yeah? Yeah, I've seen that movie.
What I'm trying to say is that there is not a definitive advantage in all cases. Sir, I don't know if you believe that you could beat Serena Williams in tennis, but I probably think that that's not the case. There are not all cases where all men are physically superior to all women. And at the end of the day, in this conversation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about trans women who are, in fact, women, who deserve to play in a
They are not, in fact, women just because those words came out of your mouth.
Gender that matches their sports, who deserve all the benefits that Ms. Gaines is talking about. And as a cisgender black woman, I can say definitively that my womanhood is not threatened by a transgender person asserting hers as well.
Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank all of the persons who are testifying today. For Ms. Robinson, do you know what
Dude, what the hell are we doing? What kind of a world are we living in?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Title IX was a landmark civil rights law. It helped create the incredible breadth of women's sports and girls' sports that we see across the country. I believe in girls' sports. I believe in women's sports. I'm the proud father of 2 daughters who are both athletes. I think participating in competitive sports is a wonderful thing for a young girl. I think it is a wonderful thing for a woman. And I think, unfortunately, today's Democrat Party has decided that women's sports and girls' sports no longer matters, and they're willing to push radical legislation designed to destroy girls' sports and women's sports.
Dominic in the chat says, if you put the word trans in front of the word woman, it's nothing more than a lie. It's belittling to all women.
Ms. Gaines, I want to thank you for your courage. You are relatively young, but you have demonstrated incredible courage. And because you have dared to speak up, you have been demonized, you have been vilified. I saw when you were attacked by a leftist mob at San Francisco State University for daring to speak up. You had an incredible record as a swimmer at the University of Kentucky. You were a 2-time NCAA All-American. You were a 5-time SEC champion. You're an SEC record holder and a 2-time Olympic trial qualifier. But yet on March 27th, 2022, something changed. What happened on March 17th, 2022?
That's when Thomas and I raced in the 200 freestyle and again resulted in a tie.
And so you tied. What was the consequence of tying?
We went behind the awards podium where typically you're handed your trophy, you're marched out, you're named an All-American. And so we go back there and the official looks at both Thomas and myself and says, great job, but you guys tied. And we only have 1 trophy, therefore we're giving this trophy to Leah. And I question this and I say, why? And at first I shortened it in my testimony, but really he stumbled on his words. He didn't know how to answer this. And at first he's, well, we're just doing this in chronological order. To which I further pressed and I said, okay, well, what are you being chronological about? Because we tied. And if we're doing this off alphabetical order, G comes before T. So what are you being chronological about? To which this wasn't a script they had prepared for him. And he actually appreciated his honesty. He did say, we have to give the trophy for Leah because Leah has to have it for pictures. They've made that clear. Leah has to have the trophy for pictures. You can pose with this trophy, but you have to give yours back. You have to go home empty-handed. Leah Thomas takes the trophy home. End of story.
Now, let me ask you, as someone who's competed at the elite level, in your experience, is there a difference between women and men?
Of course. I think we learned this at a very young age, watching even 12 and unders play. Going through puberty causes irreversible advantage, that no matter the training, no matter the diet, no matter any alterable change you can make, will overcome that male advantage. Especially in sports like swimming, where lung capacity matters so much. Even something as silly as throat size, men have on average a 40% larger throat, which sounds like it's nothing, but when you're grasping for air, that 40% larger throat makes a huge difference in athletic success, not to mention height. You guys know the differences.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
what I can say is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition
Okay, I'm
happened,
going to try again.
the rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is
but
that
I
a
also
yes?
think
So I'm
that
trying to
when
get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech.
Is
there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're
which
not
is
answering
different
that.
than
Let me ask
gender.
you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is different than gender.
Why
and I do believe that women's sports have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a
we've talked
separate
about it here
category for
today.
women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the last decade.
Mr. Chairman,
which
I would
determine
like to
that
enter into
related
the
to
record an
participation.
article from Duke Law called Comparing Athletic Performances for the Best Elite Women to Boys and Men. And it goes through examining in 2017 the top records for women in the world in various track and field events. So, for example, in the 100 meter, the top record for women in the world was 10.71 seconds. Now, that record for the number one woman in the world in 2017 was, in the year 2017, broken by 124 boys under 18. In that same year, the record for the number one competing woman in the 100-meter dash in the world was broken by a total of 2,474 men. If the radical Democrat agenda to destroy girls' sports and women's sports succeeds, little girls will not have a chance to compete. So I ask unanimous consent that this article be entered into the record.
Without objection. Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, a recent...
Wow. Wow.
Well, Judge Netburn, I'm going to continue on this line of questioning. In your court, what matters more, the rights of individuals or your political ideology?
I apply the law to the facts.
I asked a question, which matters more?
Well, my political ideology doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so I don't believe you. And I think this case demonstrates that you are willing to subjugate the rights of individuals to satisfy your political ideology. This case involves a male defendant who raped a 9-year-old boy. Was he guilty of that?
Yes, the petitioner pled guilty to that.
Okay, so he raped a 9-year-old boy. He also raped a 17-year-old girl. Was he guilty of that?
He pled guilty, the petitioner pled guilty to that crime as well.
So was he guilty?
I hope so, because she pled guilty to it.
He was a he when he did this.
That's correct.
And also criminal deviant conduct, which the record doesn't disclose what that was exactly. Then, after serving in prison, Mr. McLean was released for parole but then violated the terms of parole by having internet and was sent back to prison. 1 year after being released again, he was convicted of having child pornography. Is that correct?
I'm unclear on exactly the time frame that you're at, but the petitioner was convicted of distributing child pornography.
Child pornography that was images of adults violently raping children.
Abhorrent conduct.
Okay.
For which there are real victims.
And this individual, 6'2", biologically a man. A minute ago, you said that when this man decided that he was a she, you said this individual was, quote, I wrote it down, sober and entirely a female. That phrase struck me as remarkable. Did this individual have male genitalia?
I think what I said, or at least what
that is a verbatim quote, entirely a female.
Sorry, what I meant to say was hormonally a female.
Okay, but that's not entirely. Did this individual have male genitalia?
Yes.
So you took a 6'2" serial rapist, serial child rapist with male genitalia, and he said, you know, I'd like to be in a women's prison. And your answer was, that sounds great to me. Let me ask you something. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Is that a question you're
yes,
asking me?
The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Of course.
Do they have the right not to have a 6'2" man who is a repeat serial rapist put in as their cellmate?
Senator.
Wow, guys. Holy.
What the?
I asked you a question. Do they have a right not to have a 6'2" man who is they have a right not
presented
their cellmate?
Senator Cruz, I considered the facts presented to me, and I reached a decision.
I asked you a question.
I
asked you a question. Do they have a right not to have a 6'2" man who is a serial rapist put in as their cellmate? Do those women have a right to that?
Every person who's incarcerated has the right to be safe in their space.
But you didn't think so. You didn't think so. And in fact, I'm going to give some quotes from your order because Senator Kennedy is right. This is not a judge's order. This is a political activist. By the way, the beginning of your order says, at birth, people are typically assigned a gender. I got to say that would astonish a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans think you go to the hospital, a baby is born, and congratulations, you have a little boy, a little girl. The assigned a gender, I know you went to Brown, but it sounds like it's in a college faculty lounge with no bearing on reality. The Bureau of Prison argued what I'm saying right now, that if you put this person in a female prison, there will be a risk of sexual assault to the women. And you know what you did? You said you didn't care about the women. I'm going to quote what you wrote. You wrote, quote, the Bureau of Prisons claim penological interest in protecting female prisoners from sexual violence and trauma. This interest is legitimate, that's kind of you to say, but there are no signs that petitioner is at risk of reoffending. The record is devoid of evidence of incidents of violence or assault during petitioner's incarceration when she was the perpetrator, only the victim. A theoretical risk of sexual assault by the prisoner without more cannot support the BOP's position. No evidence, theoretical. Have you dealt, in what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at a risk of reoffending?
Senator, as I do in every case.
Okay, I know you've been told to repeat the line, I follow the law. I asked a question. In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at risk of reoffending?
Sir, I looked at the facts that were before me in this case. All of the evidence, including the statements of every warden who had supervised this petitioner.
You also wrote, the BOP also posits that permitting petitioner to live among women will be traumatizing and possibly dangerous to them. This concern is overblown. I have to say, if I were the father of one of those women, and you decided that my daughter's cellmate was going to be a 6'2" man who over and over and over again committed violent sexual assault, I would say the entire justice system is absurd, and it is clear on your record your political ideology matters a heck of a lot more than the rights of those women that you endangered.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Judge Dixon, can you tell me about the full faith and credit clause of the Constitution?
It's me, Senator Kennedy, Judge Valenzuela.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see that far.
Okay.
I just got new glasses. Judge down here, and then we'll come this way.
Judge Court, Senator, I had the same issue when I walked into the room. I thought that it would be difficult to see my last name, so no need to apologize.
Okay.
So, and I apologize. Your question is the full faith and credit
clause, yes, ma'am.
clause of the Constitution. It requires that the states give full faith and credit to judgments of other states.
Okay, very good. Judge Netburn, I was looking at your resume. You went to Brown University, is that right?
I did.
And then you went to law school in California?
That's correct.
And you've worked for the Brennan Center?
I interned. I was a law student intern.
Okay. And you worked for the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy?
I was a law student intern there for 8 weeks during my 1L summer.
Okay. And you are a political activist, aren't you?
I am not. I'm a sitting United States magistrate judge.
Okay. All right. Do you remember an inmate named William McLean, also known as July Justine Shelby?
Yes, I know who you're referring to.
Okay. Mr. McLean raped a child, didn't he?
30 years ago, the petitioner in the habeas case before me.
Did he rape a child?
He pled guilty to that crime. Yes, it's abhorrent.
And then he raped he raped a little boy, right?
I believe that's correct. I believe he pled guilty to 2 acts of sexual violence.
And then he raped a 17-year-old girl, right?
Again, this case was handled by the state court in Indiana, but
I'm just asking you the facts.
I believe.
Don't stall on me now. Did he rape a 17-year-old girl or not after raping a 9-year-old boy?
I believe that's what he pled guilty to.
Okay, and then he went to prison, didn't he?
Yes, the petitioner was.
And then he came out and he sent child porn, basically adults raping little children, to another sex.
This is definitely gonna hit my age restriction.
Offender. And he was sent back to prison, right?
The petitioner pled guilty to
Was he sent back to prison?
Well, that case was in the federal system, so.
Was he sent back to prison?
Yes, this time to federal prison.
I just planet did you parachute in? I want to go to a female prison. And Ms. Shelby said, I don't want to go to a male prison. I want to go to a female prison. And the Board of Prisons said, what planet did you parachute in from? You're going to a male prison with this kind of record. And you sent him to a female prison, didn't you? You said that the Board of Prisons was trying to violate.
Good night, Random. And guys, thank you everyone for subscribing. I'm watching the subscriber number go up, and it's amazing, guys. Thank you for supporting me, and love to have you guys. Thanks for joining tonight. And I'm on in the mornings and in the evenings. So I'll be on tomorrow morning again. I'll be on tomorrow evening. And so we're going to have some fun. So thank you for subscribing, and look forward to spending time with you guys a lot more. So thank you.
Ms. Shelby, former Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
I issued a report and recommendation to the district judge recommending that the district judge transfer the petitioner to a women's facility. The district judge adopted that recommendation.
The Board of Prisons was trying.
Yes, I am West Coast. I'm in Southern California. I'm in Orange County.
To violate Ms. Shelby's, Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
So I based my decision on the facts that were presented to me in the record evidence.
But it wasn't that your ruling?
I recommended finding that under Estelle versus Gamble.
Why won't you admit that was your ruling? Are you ashamed of it today?
I'm not. I'm answering the question. I applied Estelle versus Gamble.
Was that your ruling?
My recommendation was that.
She won't just say it, bro. Just say it. Come on now. Yes, this was a big day. We had 200 subscribers just on this stream alone, and 200 in the morning, this morning. So that's like 400 total today. Wow, strong. We're going strong, guys. We're probably going to hit 10K real fast. So keep your seatbelts on and let's go.
The petitioner's serious medical needs were being denied by keeping her in a men's facility.
A violation of the 8th Amendment, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how big was Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean?
I don't have a specific recollection. Your colleague just suggested that she was more than 6 feet tall.
And you told the Board of Prisons, well, she'll be okay. The other women in the female prison will be okay because it's only hypothetical that Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean would reoffend again after he's already raped a 9-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl and has been sending child porn through the mail. You said there's no chance he'll reoffend again. Did you say that?
Senator Kennedy, I based my decision on the record.
But am I right? Did you conclude that?
I don't have a specific recollection of that. I did recommend that after finding a constitutional violation.
What were you thinking in saying it's only hypothetical that she would reoffend?
The facts of the case were that the petitioner had last engaged in a contact offense 30 years ago. The petitioner had not engaged in any contact offense. In addition, the medical evidence made clear that for the last 5 years, the petitioner was sober and hormonally entirely a female, and there was no evidence.
The Board of Prisons didn't agree with you. I'm not going to run out of time here.
She just said that they said it was entirely a female, even though she knew it was a 6'2" dude with a schlong. Holy cow, guys. What is going on? Who's running our country right now, bro? What is going on? Bethany, Kansas, new sub. Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Monlin, thank you for joining. Thank you from Minnesota. Tell us about Minnesota. Are you dealing with Mr. Walsh over there? How is that going for you? Jeez, I'm sorry.
You're really a political activist, aren't you?
I'm not, sir.
But your record demonstrates otherwise.
I disagree. I apply the law to the facts and come to a fair decision. All of my...
A fair decision? You put a repeat RAPED defender, 6 foot tall, 6'2" dude with a schlong in a female prison? What are we talking about? How is that fair? Even if they're inmates. Come on now.
Decisions that have been appealed, particularly this one, the district judge adopted my report and recommendation in full, and the government did not move for a stay of the decision.
Wow. Holy cow. Guys, we're gonna call it for tonight. And that's I gotta go. I got actually some work to handle before I even go to bed, so I'll be up late tonight. Thank you guys all for joining. Really appreciate you guys. Please subscribe. I'll be on tomorrow morning. I'll be on tomorrow night. We're going to have a good time with this. So thank you again. Really appreciate you guys all. I have a lot more that I haven't even got into. Rhett says, bro, you live in Cali. Your state needs the most help. Yes, I definitely agree. 100% agree with you. They all want to be, they all want to be something. Kanan, good night, man. Appreciate you. Bethany, shalom. Appreciate you too. Thank you for subscribing. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you. We're moving quick, guys. We're moving. Dude, holy cow. 5269, we just got one more. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Holy cow. Dude, we just hit 5K this morning. Woo! Holy smokes. Damn, I'm going to lose my voice at some point. But wow, dude, these were some... Dude, how good is Senator Kennedy, dude? Wow. Okay, guys. Thank you again. And this is it. Have a good night. I'll see you guys mañana. Good night. The judge says the judges who let these people out and then the same thing happens need to serve a life sentence for not doing their freaking job. It's literally their freaking job. I agree. And not only those, the ones that give those really short sentences for people that commit murder. People do murder and get out in like 17 years. And back at it again. How crazy is that? It's insane, dude. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, guys. Thank you again. Good night. I'll see you mañana.